Want to hear something amazing? Discover matches all the cash back you earn on your credit card at the end of your first year automatically, dollar for dollar, with no limit on how much you can earn. Extra cash? Come on, how amazing is that? In fact, it's even more amazing when you realize all the places where Discover is accepted. 99% of places in the U.S. that take credit cards. So when it comes to Discover, get used to hearing yes more often. Learn more at discover.com/yes. 2020 Nielsen Report. Limitations apply.
This is No BS Job Search Advice Radio, episode 1786. I'm your host, Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter, and welcome! Welcome to another episode of the show for today, Tuesday. And today's is for those of you who are at executive level for negotiating your new compensation. Hope you find it helpful and give it a great review wherever you listen to the show. And I hope to be able to help you. If you're interested in my coaching you, if you'd like to hire me for a discrete part of the search and helping you with that, you can do that at my website, thebiggamehunter.us. Schedule time for coaching. I'd love to help you. And with that, let's get going. Today's show is really about being more effective negotiating at an executive level, in the C-suite, high-level positions, because things have become a little complicated as firms are sorting out how to do things in this new climate where in some jurisdictions, in some locations, you can no longer ask about a person's salary. Think about it for a second. The habit for years is an employer says, so tell me about what you're currently earning. And you would walk them through what your base is, what your bonus is, the additional comp that you received. And now they can't do that. So whether you're in one of those locations or not, I wanted to offer some perspective on some things that you ought to do and things that you shouldn't do as part of the negotiation. Now, invariably, we always start off with doing researching on what positions like this in their organization and in similar organizations pay. You can do that in a variety of ways, but I think, frankly, the best way is by now you've developed a network of resources who you can go to and talk with them about compensation. If you don't have that, I'm perplexed, because you must understand by now that your network is one of the most valuable resources that you have. If you don't have a quality network in place, if you don't have those relationships in place, you're operating with one arm tied behind your back. You're making a huge professional mistake. Start working on it now. So from there, yeah, you can work with LinkedIn. Yes, you can work with websites, but those are pretty generic. You need to be talking to people who will be honest with you. Next thing to do is walk through for yourself your compensation. What's your base? What's your bonus or the total cash comp of this? Do you have equity? Stock options, RSUs, stock grants, any sort of deferred compensation, or any specific perks that you receive, like, a club membership or a car allowance, things along those lines, so that you don't forget any of the details along the way. And once you have them, do not share them, because the fact of the matter is, once you start sharing it, you're starting to bind yourself, because they're going to start viewing that as the baseline from which they have to work, especially in jurisdictions where there's no longer the ability to ask about your current salary. You have an advantage as long as you remember a lot of firms are playing the strategy of making lower offers, but within reason, so they can flush out the right number. Catch that one. You make a lower offer to make you say no to it, and thus respond by saying, this is less than what I'm currently earning. And thus flushing out what your current comp plan is. Don't talk with them about what you're looking for here. Do figure out what comp is like in your target industry and role. And lastly, once they make the offer, even if it's pretty close, don't say yes to the first offer. Be prepared to negotiate. Now, one of the things I would say is turn around and respond by saying, the offer is interesting. Assume that if we get into a negotiation here, I'm not putting anything at risk. And if they say, yes, you are, there's a message in that. Do you always want to be dealt with like you're a hostage? Because that's really what they're doing. They're treating you like a hostage that they can manipulate, maneuver, and demand. Think about it. Is that the way that you want to be dealt with professionally? And I would respond by saying, I'm a little confused by this response. Why is it that, well, let me just simply say, why is it that I'm not able to negotiate here? What's the threat to this organization if I turn around and say, this is less than what I'm currently earning, or less than what I believe this position pays at this firm, that firm, this firm, that firm. And you're saying that there's a risk in my negotiation. Why is that? Could you explain that to me? And make them defend the behavior to you. That will disarm them a little bit. And again, I'm going to remind you of a movie line. Remember, this is business. It's not personal. Don't take a personal affront here. And thus, when you get the initial offer and you've asked that question, and I'm going to assume that 95 times out of 100 or more, you're not going to hear anything that they're going to threaten you with. You have a sense of where you can negotiate because you have a sense of their first offer. You have the perks and the incentive plan that you currently receive with a perspective. Depending upon your seniority, you could talk about severance in case there's a sale, a non-compete, and what restrictions exist. If they say severance, why are you looking at severance? There are immature organizations that conduct themselves that way. I'd simply say, the fact of the matter is the firm could be sold in 1 year, 6 months, 5 years, and I want to make sure that I'm protected because it will take a long time for me to get repositioned. So I also want to discuss severance plans with you should that occur. So lots of different areas, but it all comes down to when you get the offer, you're confirming that there's no risk there. Number two is you're picking individual points to focus in on, and then next making a counter proposal to them, covering some of the things that you have expectations of. So that's today's show. I hope you found it helpful. And if you did, here are a few more ways to get information and advice from me. First of all, there's my website, which is thebiggamehunter.us. I have more than 8,000 blog posts there that you can watch, listen to, or read that will help you find your next job. In addition, if you're interested in my coaching you, at the site there's a button there that says schedule. Schedule time for a free discovery call, schedule yourself in for coaching, interview preparation coaching, salary negotiation advice, coaching related to hiring more effectively, managing and leading, helping you to be a better executive in your organization, and overall being a better employee of your firm. If you have questions for me, you can ask them at Wizio.com/The Big Game Hunter. That's WISIO.com/The Big Game Hunter. The price at Wizio is less than 1/3 of what I'm charging at my website. And I'm doing this because I want to benefit my subscribers here and on YouTube, and only you're going to know about it. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn at LinkedIn.com/IN/The Big Game Hunter. Mention that you watched or listened to my content. I like knowing I'm helping folks. Once we're connected, it's nice to hear from you. I'd love to hear from you from time to time about how I'm helping. You can also watch me on TV. Did you know that? If you have a Fire TV or a Fire Stick, Download the JobSearch TV app for Apple TV, Roku, Sony, Samsung, like 90 different TV platforms. You can watch me on either Zingo TV or BingeNetworks.tv. On YouTube, subscribe at JobSearch.TV.com and have access to thousands of videos I've created. I'll be back tomorrow with more, and in the meantime, I hope you have a great day. Be great!
When you're ready to ride Metro, we want you to know we're ready for you. Here are just a few of the people at Metro to tell you how we're doing our part to keep riders safe.
We're cleaning like never before with hospital-grade cleaning.
You'll find hand sanitizer stations all over the Metro.
No mask, no Metro. Need one? We have a few extras.
At Metro, we're doing our part to keep the DC area moving. Find out more at WMATA.com/doingourpart. When you're ready to ride Metro, we want you to know we're ready for you. Here are just a few of the people at Metro to tell you how we're doing our part to keep riders safe.
We're cleaning like never before with hospital-grade cleaning.
You'll find hand sanitizer stations all over the Metro.
No mask, no Metro. Need one? We have a few extras.
At Metro, we're doing our part to keep the DC area moving. Find out more at WMATA.com/doingourpart.